My name is Maria Besubova, and you are at my channel Fertilizers Jazz. Here we talk about events, trends, technologies in the world of fertilizers and agriculture. Please subscribe to the channel, put like to this video, and let's jazz! Today I'm happy to present you a great guest, Sylvia Traganida, who is Senior Ammonia Editor at ICIS. I'm delighted to welcome you, Sylvia, and thank you very much for joining me today.
Maria, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to our chat.
Thank you. So today, together with you, I would like to dive into the trends in the ammonia market that you see coming for the rest of this Q2 and a bit to Q3. We are right in the middle of Q2 now, and we saw nitrogen markets really shaking during the past couple of months. And seems like only now situation starts to be a bit to calm down. So my first question to you will be, how did you see trends for the 2024 at the beginning of the year? And did it turn out like you expected or not? And which of them did, which of them not?
So the big trend that we have seen since the beginning of the year and even before that was demand or lack thereof for ammonia. So I would say globally. So the big issue was and continues to be Asia. So in Asia, we're not seeing much demand for ammonia, and also we're not seeing much buying interest from the chemical sectors, from the acrylonitrile and caprolactam sectors, which I think has created a big issue for ammonia. Also elsewhere in Asia, we're also seeing not a lot of demand from China, at least not yet, and not a lot of demand from India. So obviously that ties in with the phosphates demand, which has been very slow so far. The other big trend that we're seeing has to do with availability. So so far we have seen a lot of scheduled and unscheduled maintenance in the Middle East. We have seen in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, through the year in Oman, in Indonesia and Malaysia, in Asia. So availability has been not comfortable, if I can describe it like that. It has been up and down during the year, and I think it will continue to be like that, especially as producers are focusing more on contract shipments rather than spot shipments. The other big trends we're looking at, of course, are more macro. So climate change, the floods in Brazil or hurricanes in the US, logistics like the shipping rates, shipping freight rates, logistics issues in the Red Sea, and of course, geopolitical issues. So we're looking at conflicts. We're looking at the availability from Russia, and also, of course, let's not forget the natural gas prices. That will also play a part in ammonia prices and ammonia production rates.
Based on this, how do you see the demand in the rest of Q2 and Q3? Do you think there are some upside factors that can stimulate the market and help it to let's say, improve?
Yeah, for 2024, I'm trying to be optimistic. So I'm expecting some demand to pick up in Europe as we get into the season, and also we're seeing some demand to start picking up from the nitrates market in Europe. And I'm expecting to see a little bit more demand in India. So as they are getting into the pre-monsoon buying season, they will need to import phosphates, but also produce domestically phosphates. So we're seeing a lot of demand there. And of course, the other big market that we're looking at is the US. So the US domestic market is more or less covered, but we're seeing a bit more demand, for the US and for Canada.
I see. During these couple of months, there were quite a lot of news regarding policies changes across the globe, but mostly for downstream products like phosphates with US duties or Chinese export regulations, these things. So what about ammonia? Are there any important developments that you think will influence the demand and price level in the closest future?
Of course, the biggest regulation that comes to mind is the CBAM. So that's the carbon emissions and carbon certificates regulation that has been put into effect in Europe, and it will. At the moment, we are in the first stages, but it will come into effect in full in 2026. So, of course, this is 2 years away, but most market participants, buyers, and producers have started thinking about this and talking about this. And in recent industry events and conferences I go to and speak to the contacts, they always ask about what's going to happen with the carbon emissions and the carbon certificates, because it's not only going to affect buyers in Europe, but it's also going to affect producers that sell into Europe. Like we said, at the moment, it's just that in the first stages, so it doesn't look like it's affecting ammonia prices. But it's definitely something to look at and something that people are looking at. And we at ICIS are also looking at the carbon adjusted price of ammonia. So it's something that will definitely affect the market for years to come. And it's definitely something that should be in everyone's mind.
I see. And it is the separate question worth the full discussion, of course, but I still would like to touch the base, and you already mentioned about that. There are more and more green and blue ammonia projects being announced and actually being prepared for launch. Can you please share some more information if you have some more update if all of those projects that we hear about are actually coming on stream? Do you think that we will see them coming on stream in time, or we will see massive delays? How do you see this developing?
It's a very good question, because actually it seems like every month we're getting press releases about blue or green ammonia, new plants or capacity increase. So the million-dollar question is, all this is well and good, but how many of these new plants are going to come into production? Because as you very well know, it's not easy to build a new plant, and it's not as easy to turn production on. It's not like flicking a switch. And also, even with established producers, we have seen delays, we have seen projects being scrapped for one reason or another. So I'm trying to stay optimistic, but also realistic about when these new blue and green ammonia production when these new blue and green ammonia capacities are going to come into production. So let's not get ahead of ourselves, and let's see what's going to happen in this year, next year, or the years to come. It's definitely something that the market is going towards, this blue and green ammonia. So it's definitely here to stay, and also all the other colors of the rainbow, not just blue and green. But yeah, sustainability is not just a trend, it's the new reality. So everyone is looking at that, producers, buyers, and also us reporting on this market.
Indeed. Since December 2023, the whole world is watching closely the situation in the Red Sea, of course. And unfortunately, it is influencing international trade flows more and more from month to month. And for ammonia trade, obviously, this route is even more important than for other fertilizers. So do you think a Red Sea factor, so to say, still influence the market significantly? Or maybe the market has already adapted to that and it's not a major issue for the Q2 and Q3 at least. What do you think?
So the Red Sea situation is definitely an issue that we're looking at 100%, because it has affected almost every market, including ammonia, of course. So in terms of ammonia, we have seen it affecting producers and shipments coming from the Arab Gulf that have contracts to Europe. So it has made journey times longer since the vessels go through the Cape of Good Hope. And also it has increased freight rates, which is something that producers, buyers, traders need to take into account when they close a business, be it contract or spot. For instance, we have seen buyers in Morocco or Turkey having issues with shipments because it takes longer for the vessel to come, or the vessel needs to arrive to the country first, unload, then will it make it back in time? All these things need to be taken into consideration. So, of course, this has affected not only the actual trade, but it's also the psychological factor of shipments, of business, and even in related markets like phosphates, for instance. It has affected phosphoric acid shipments from Jordan to India, which is affecting also ammonia buying in India. So it's definitely an issue that has a lot of consequences for a lot of markets. It's an uncertain that we're looking at, and who knows when it's going to be resolved and how it's going to be resolved, and how much it will affect the markets for months to come.
So not yet new normality, let me put it this way. Unfortunately.
Not yet.
Not yet. And if we talk about prices, how do you see the trends into the Q3 to develop?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really talk about a forecast, but it will all depend on where demand is going to come from for the next quarter. So, for instance, we're now, in mid-May. We're expecting the next Tampa price for June after the IFA conference in Singapore. So we have seen a decrease in May. So let's see what happens in June. The thing is, we are seeing some availability, some tight availability in the globe. So, for instance, AG prices have been going down. But in the last week or two, we have seen some spot business in India, and we're seeing some demand in India, so that might support prices. We're seeing a little demand in Asia, so we need to keep an eye on China, on whether they will buy a lot of ammonia to produce phosphates, because now they can export phosphates again. So I would say I'm staying cautious about the next quarter. I'm keeping an eye on the prices, and yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, indeed. I want to thank you, Sylvia. Thank you very much for joining me today, and myself and of course my channel viewers will be more than happy to see you many more times here. So thanks again, and have a great IFA conference, which is ahead of all of us next week. So take care and thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria, for having me, for the invitation, and good luck with your channel, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you to all our listeners.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, put like to this video, and see you soon.